my name is Luke Marr and this is Hot Mode, and today on Hot Mode we are going to be spilling all of the Fashion Month tea that you need to know before Fashion Month starts. I mean, between 4 major cities, which are New York, London, Milan, and Paris, and hundreds of brands both new and old, there's a whole lot that you can get lost in, but I've made this fun little roadmap so that you know what to be looking for and what's most important, and then you can also do your own exploring and have a grand old time as well. But before we get into the video, if you guys are looking for a channel that talks about fashion in the most fun, sassy, bitchy, analytical way, this is it. So you can go down below, hit the subscribe button, and turn on my post notifications. I mean, what do you have to lose? You're already here. You literally clicked on a fucking video about Fashion Month. You have no life. And if you guys want to see more from me, you can follow me on Instagram at HotLemode. I post some pretty poppin' fashion memes. I mean, the one that I made today was pretty great. People loved it. So yeah, definitely check that out. If you want to see me being just real as fuck, follow me on Twitter, also at HotLemode. And yeah, that's about it. So let's get back into the video. One thing I want to tell you guys about is an app and website which is called Vogue Runway. Essentially, Vogue Runway posts all of the fashion shows about an hour or two after they actually happen. So you can be up to date and you can look through all of the photos, detail photos, the atmosphere, the front row of all of the shows, whether it be Saint Laurent or it's Marc Jacobs in New York. A lot of shows are covered on the app and the website, and it's a resource that the majority of the industry people use. I mean, stylists use it literally every day. I'm sure designers use it to reference and check. Diet Prada uses it to check out who's fucking copying who. This video is not fucking sponsored because A, I don't think Vogue has the money to pay me, but B, I don't think I'd ever take the money from Vogue. I just wanted to tell you guys about the resource. It's a great way to keep up with the shows. They do reviews, which kind of gives you a little background information on what's happening. So I would just check it out. I think it's really good. I use it all the time. It's one of the most used apps on my phone, so you're welcome. So I think we should go from city to city in the way of talking about the topics. I just think it's easier to do. Certain cities have a lot to talk about, certain cities don't have a lot to talk about, so I just think that that's important. So Fashion Month starts off in New York on September 6th, and I know that New York seems like probably one of the biggest fashion capitals of the world, but honestly, it's really fallen to the wayside in the past few years. I mean, this is not the September issue, it's not 2006, and Anna Wintour has none of the power that she did 10 years ago. So, you have Raf Simons, who does Calvin Klein. Raf Simons is an icon, as I said in my last video. He's amazing, we love him. The thing is, his Calvin Klein collections are getting really great press reception and the critics love it, but I don't think that it's doing super well commercially, and I think Calvin Klein is a very commercial brand, so I think it's in a weird place. It seems like Raf Simons needs to feng shui the shit out of Calvin Klein really fast. Another thing is, a few seasons ago, 4 of the biggest brands in New York actually decamped over to Paris in order to show their collections and to get better brand reception. So the brands Altuzarra, Proenza Schouler, Rodarte, and Thom Browne all just felt like New York wasn't doing anything for them, which I mean, it wasn't, but they all said, we're just gonna go to Paris and we'll do amazing. But if you've ever watched the Zach Posen documentary, you know that, that doesn't happen all the time. For 2 of the brands, Altuzarra and Thom Browne, they're staying in Paris for now. But Rodarte and Proenza Schouler are actually going to be back on the New York Fashion Week schedule, and it seems like they have their tails betwixt their legs as they return to New York, but I have to say I'm actually very happy to see them. I do think that they're both really great brands. I love what they do independently of each other. I think Rodarte has a really great sense of the internet and digital advertising and all that kind of stuff, so I really am hoping Rodarte kind of pulls it out with this show as well. Proenza, I think, is still kind of stubborn and assumes that Vogue is going to do everything for them, but I think we need to let Proenza know that, girl, that's not gonna happen, so we need to kick it into overdrive. I think the reason that Proenza and Rodarte are actually coming back is because they went to Paris as big fish in a little pond in New York, but they became, medium fish in a pretty large pond in Paris, and the competition is fucking steep, especially when you have brands that are hallowed, they have their bases there, they have their ateliers there, everything's based in Paris. It's really hard for American brands to kind of pick everything up and then go to Paris and do as amazing as you would in New York in your home. But anyway, I'm proud of them. I'm very happy that they're back. let's hope the collections are good. Another interesting thing is you're not gonna see Alexander Wang on the New York Fashion Week schedule. So when everybody left, Alexander Wang was like, fuck this, I'm just gonna do my own thing, and essentially showed a collection in June because he assumed that that is how the whole fashion industry was going to change and start selling summer clothes in summer and winter clothes in winter. So yeah, you're not going to see a bad Alexander Wang collection this season. Lucky you, and also me. I mean, the collection from June was like messy, I didn't care for it, I didn't know what was fucking happening. It was like motorcycles and shit, and I was like, you're from California, bitch. Like, who, what? No. So yeah, bless up. Another fun thing that's gonna be happening this season is Monse, which is the brand founded by the creative directors of Oscar de la Renta, Laura Kim, and Fernando Garcia, are going to be debuting menswear. Let me just say that the New York Fashion Week men's scene is a mess. I don't know what's happening with it. It's just sad. So I'm actually kind of happy to see that Monse is showing their menswear with women's wear, and I think that this is following the kind of Gucci, Balenciaga vibe where they just show everything together. It cuts costs in production, and it's just easier to have a kind of cohesive collection all together. I really like what Monse does. I think it's really impeccable. It's very cool. It's very office chic. It's amazing. So I'm hoping that this menswear is just as good. I hope it's not like boring, sad, tacky fucking menswear. I hate shit like that. It's the worst. So I'll let you know how it goes. Next up is probably one of the most interesting things that is happening in New York during Fashion Week, and it's that Kate Spade, the handbag brand, is actually going to be debuting its first women's wear collection. Now, a lot of people were extremely saddened by the death of the founder, Kate Spade, in June of 2018, and I think a lot of people really saw themselves in her as a businesswoman and as a founder and as a mother and wife. And I think it's actually really, really cool that she really had that support and love, and people found so much inspiration in her. The thing is, Kate Spade was actually bought by the shares of Tapestry Corporation, which is essentially a fashion conglomerate. Think LVMH and Kering. They also own Coach and Stuart Weitzman. Now, if you know anything about Coach, Coach was just a bag brand for a long, long time. But eventually, the new CEO, I think his name is Victor Louise or Louise Victor, essentially rolled out this 5-year plan where they were trying to make these brands much more luxurious. So they had Stuart Vevers come into Coach and essentially design amazing collections. They wanted to be more creative. They got extremely large celebrities like Selena Gomez to come in and be a part of the brand. And honestly, I think it's actually working. I mean, I think Stuart needs to up the game in terms of the collections, but overall, he's definitely helped to build a new brand image for Coach. I think that that's what they're trying to do with Kate Spade as well, seeing as the CEO of Coach is actually the interim CEO of Kate Spade. So the creative director currently is named Nicola Glass. She has done stints at both Michael Kors and Gucci. So I'm hoping that like some of the Alessandro magic rubbed off and not a lot of the Michael Kors rubbed off. Personally, I assume that the brand is actually going to be very similar to Tory Burch, where Tory Burch isn't like a fashion designer, she's just a founder of a company, but she's hired a creative director to actually put out collections. I think it's kind of going to be an elevated, basic white woman aesthetic, but I'm not mad at that. I kind of like the Tory Burch collections that they show in New York. I think they're pretty good. So I'm excited for Kate Spade. Excited is dramatic. I just want to see what it looks like. If it's a hot mess, if I have to do like a fashion roast of it, I will. So our final topic is actually going to be talking about Rihanna's Savage X Fenty debut on the New York Fashion Week calendar. Savage X Fenty is Rihanna's inclusive lingerie line, and Rihanna is extremely inclusive. I mean, if you look at her Fenty Beauty inventory, she probably is one of the first business women to actually put multiple tones for darker women in a concealer, like foundation, skincare line. And it sold extremely well. I mean, at least when I was in London this time last year, there was a line out the door of Harvey Nichols every single time I walked by, which was at least like once a week. So, I mean, it's really a big deal. And I assume that this Savage X Fenty thing is gonna be a big deal too. The real reason I'm talking about Rihanna though is not because of her clothes, it's actually going to be because of the time of her show. So she's showing on September 12th at 7:30. Here's the thing though, Marc Jacobs is showing at 6 p.m. that night as well. But the thing that you probably don't know is that Marc Jacobs actually has a tradition of closing out New York Fashion Week every single season. It's kind of just a thing that happens and nobody really, you know, ever challenges it. I mean, Marc has amazing collections and I love what he does, but the brand is not where it was when he was working at Louis Vuitton. And I personally think that this is another nail in the coffin for Marc's brand. A lot of people are saying that Rihanna's show is unofficial because she's not showing ready-to-wear, she's just showing lingerie. But my thing is, it's not really about what she's showing, it's about who's going to be there. Influencers, celebrities, editors are all gonna be there, they're all gonna be Snapchatting and fucking Instagram storying and all of that stuff. And I mean, it kind of defeats the purpose of Marc closing out New York Fashion Week. And it's kind of sad. I love Marc and I love what he does, but I just think that this is another reason why it's just like, you don't have the power anymore, sis. It's just not there. Like, Rihanna's gonna come in and she's gonna do what she wants and nobody's gonna say anything about it. Let's move on to London though. London Fashion Week is known as the developer of young talent. I mean, the majority of the fashion talent that we talk about, Alexander McQueen, John Galliano, Phoebe Philo, just to name a few, have come out of London's fashion scene. It's really a place to spot young talent, not a bunch of established big brands. So I would look out for brands like Maddie Bovin, Halpern, and Richard Quinn as the new young, cool brands to watch out for. Also, I think Erdem, Molly Goddard, Simone Rocha, and JW Anderson are the best brands that are kind of the middle child of the London fashion scene. They like keep everything running smoothly. The most important aspect of this upcoming London Fashion Week is definitely going to be Riccardo Tisci's debut at Burberry. Riccardo Tisci was the creative director of Givenchy for, I'm gonna say, at least, I don't know, 8 years plus. And his work was beloved by both the people that worked in the industry and celebrity clients. I mean, like him and Kanye apparently have this like whole thing that they were having sex. Wendy Williams talks about it all the time.
The way, if you like her sneakers, they're Nikes, but they're a special edition Riccardo Tisci, you know, Kanye's special friend.
I think that his mix of American sportswear and really amazing gothic references is spectacular, and I think he's an amazing tailor. Like, I just am in love with what he does, so I'm really excited for this whole Burberry thing. I mean, I'm gonna say that Riccardo was not my first choice for who should be doing Burberry at all. I literally made a meme about it. I was like, I don't know what the fuck's happening, like. But honestly, Burberry has been a mess for some time now. The past creative director, Christopher Bailey, who also was the CEO at one point, kind of let the brand go really, really, really stagnant. Like, it was not plateauing, it was just like, bam, 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 bam. Like, it was a mess. It was so sad. Everybody was like, no. And then he did that gay collection and everybody was like, what the fuck is happening? So I think that Burberry bringing on Riccardo to reinvent the brand is honestly so necessary. I mean, Burberry stores, the Burberry look is just dead. It's like mid-2000s, it's gone, it's done. So Riccardo kind of needed to bring it into a new age. Luckily, he has actually developed a brand new Burberry print. I mean, I kind of like it. A lot of people fucking hate it. He's reinvented the logo that says now Burberry London, England, and he's actually going to be doing a collaboration with the iconic British brand Vivienne Westwood. So there is stuff to look forward to. Personally, I'm really looking forward to Riccardo doing a gothic take on Burberry's plaid. Like, I don't know if it's gonna come in the first collection, but I want one thing, and it is a gothic Burberry plaid. I think that that would be iconic. I'm really excited for Burberry. I wanna see what's gonna happen. I think it could be really, really, really cool. So we'll do a whole video on that. Don't worry. I promise. I gotcha. Next up is Milan though, where not all that much is going on. And honestly, that is not a bad thing right now. You have brands like Prada and Versace reinventing and bringing back all of their old classics. You have Francesco Rizzo, a Prada alum, reinventing Marni, and I'm obsessed with it. And I mean, you have the Fendi logo mania shit, so it kind of sucks also. Like, there are good things, there are, you know, things in the middle, and then there are awful things. We'll deal with it. So finally, let's get into Paris. There's actually not that much going on in Paris, which is kind of nice. I'm kind of happy about that. I mean, like, there's a lot going on, but like no drama, crazy shit that you have to fucking deal with. Like, you just look at the collections and go. It's great. So there are a few big brands that we should just, you know, give a little overview of. First up is Dior. It's a mess, it's boring, we hate it. Next is Chanel, whose over-the-top sets are really just a distraction from boring old lady clothes. Then you have Louis Vuitton, which is done by Nicolas Ghesquier, and honestly, it's either going to be amazing or terrifying. Usually I grow to like it eventually, but sometimes it goes too far and I just can't find anything redeemable. I'm obsessed with the Natasha Ramsey Levi's Chloe. I am a firm fan of Claire White Keller's Givenchy. The tailoring is always really good, but usually the collections are pretty subtle. John Galliano always delivers for Margiela, and Anthony Vaccarello's Saint Laurent is really just gimmicky. But if you look really closely, you can see some good archive YSL stuff going on. And finally, Valentino. It's an old lady couture brand, but we deal with it because the couture is so good. Some of the younger brands in Paris that you should be looking towards are Marine Serre, Y Project, Jacquemus, and Off-White, depending on the concept of Virgil's collection, because either it's going to be really good or really bad. But the biggest moment from Paris Fashion Week is definitely going to be Hedi Sliman's debut at Celine. Hedi is a pretty controversial designer, but also one of the best in the business. You give him a company, that bitch is going to turn it around and make you money hand over fist. He has reinvented both Dior Homme and Saint Laurent, and if you're wondering why we don't call Saint Laurent Yves Saint Laurent anymore, you can thank Hedi for that. And before the Celine show has even happened, Hedi has already reinvented the logo, which has caused quite the fucking controversy. I mean, the comments of Celine's Instagram, which the whole archive of Celine's Instagram was deleted, which I'm not really a big fan of, but also I'm not gonna lose my shit over it. But essentially all these fashion people are like, this is insane, the accent, where's the accent? Hedi did come with receipts though. He said in one of the captions that essentially it was a way to bring Celine back to the 1960s before there was the accent on the Celine in the brand name. But personally, I think that it's definitely a way for him to distance Phoebe Philo's Celine from the Celine that he's going to be doing. Phoebe Philo's Celine essentially made the brand what it is today. It brought in an amazing customer. It created really normal, luxurious clothing for women to actually wear. And I think it's a very important brand, and I think people are going to be very upset if Hedi fucks that up. So I really think that Hedi is going to try to get as far away from Phoebe Philo's Celine, the aesthetics and all that, as physically possible, because no matter what he does, Celine, as of right now, belongs to Phoebe, and if he does anything that is remotely similar, it's just gonna be, oh, that's Phoebe's shit. Oh, you're just copying Phoebe, which I mean, it would be tea, but he doesn't want that. Celine actually debuted its first handbag with Lady Gaga during her trip to Paris. Luckily, my friend Pierre is an investigative fashion journalist. Not really, that's not a thing, but he is as close to you get as it. And essentially he found out that the bag that she was carrying was Celine by Hedi. Hedi and Gaga have a very hallowed history. Hedi actually shot the Fame Monster cover, so I mean there definitely is a lot of history and a lot of love in between them, and with Gaga's whole rebirth, I think that you'll see a lot of Celine on her. But even though we saw a new logo and we've seen just one bag from Hedi, I don't think we know what Celine is going to look like now, so it's definitely something that we're gonna have to wait till at least the end of September, early October to find out about. But I will obviously be doing a whole video on the debut collection, so don't worry yourself. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this is helpful during the whole Fashion Month experience. I think it should be. If you keep up to date, I feel like you'll be able to, piece everything together sort of, and make your own assumptions based on all of the collections that you see. I'm actually going to be doing a Fashion Week vlog because I'm going to a few shows, so get ready for that. I'm not a vlogger, but a bitch will try. But with that, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you guys on Thursday's video, and TTYL.